Joining me is Sky News Business Editor Ross Greenwood. Ross Greenwood, thank you so much for your time. Ross, I've got to say, my heart goes out to Jim Chalmers every time. He must be the unluckiest treasurer in the world. Such a brilliant man. But then he's got to blame Russia, the war in Ukraine, inflation overseas, war in the Middle East, and trouble in the US for our inflation, our terrible growth, and now, of course, deficits again. His latest excuses today, ex-Cyclone Alfred and Donald Trump. Is this man just unlucky, or is he a failure, once again, looking for excuses?
Unluckiest treasurer in the world, or, according to Chris Richardson, the luckiest treasurer in the world, because of the amount of money that has come into the coffers since he has become the treasurer. And of course, under the Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, and his ministers, they've managed to spend a big wedge of that, although he says they have put a lot of it aside. But the reality is that Australia does not have a budget surplus or a profit in store for the next 10 years, which is more than a normal economic cycle of 7 years. So the reality is, when you say looking for excuses, well, the latest one is Cyclone Alfred, which he says is going to clip 0.25% off economic growth and could push inflation up. Not the fact, of course, that the government itself is actually increasing inflation through its own spending. You'll never hear that. It must be the supermarket's fault. It must be somebody else's fault. It can't be our spending. It can't be the fact that we have clipped so much money out of taxpayers' pockets by bracket creep because of inflation that we've got so much money. So now, really, there seems to be, to me, a disconnect between the government, which is spending a lot of money, and households on the other side that have had to really cut their costs and work harder in more than one job, simply because, of course, the government is taking a bigger bite out of their salaries.
His search for excuses, I think, is running out of inventiveness here. I thought he had a brilliant all-purpose excuse today for something he calls volatility, whatever that means. He was asked about Labor's big promise at the last election that its global warming schemes would cut everyone's electricity bills by $275 per household, when in fact, as everyone knows, have gone up and up and up and up. Here's this excuse today.
The number that you're referring to, which we all used on a number of occasions, was a forecast in 2021 about an outcome in 2025. And I think for a lot of the reasons that I've run through in my speech today, but also particular to the energy market, there's been a lot of uncertainty, a lot of volatility between 2021 and 2025.
What's he actually saying there? What is the excuse? Volatility, uncertainty, what does that mean?
And just a small one for you, where is the volatility any more today than it was there in 2021? And remember, in 2021, they were going to immediately try and close all the coal-fired power stations. They were going to bring all of that forward. They've now had to push that back because they realise that will just create more unsettlement or dissettlement in the energy markets and will potentially cause a lack of energy. So the reality is that this problem of energy is going to haunt this government for a long, long time. Fundamentally, the bigger problem here is not just the bills that households are paying, it's about the lack of competitiveness for Australian business. And so when I go and talk to business leaders now who are telling me, because of energy policy, because of industrial relations policy, because of tax policy, and the lack of movement on all these things, that Australia is becoming uncompetitive and they're going to put their investment overseas. That means jobs overseas. That means Australian investment overseas. They're looking for places where they can make a bigger bang for their buck. That's not Australia, sadly. That is in the United States.
And just finally, Ross, the speech today, what did it tell you about what to expect from the budget next week?
Well, there's nothing to expect from the budget next week. They didn't expect to give a budget next week. So they were fully expecting to go to an election in early April, but Cyclone Alfred obviously blew that out the window. The second thing is that Jim Chalmers' office, it would appear to me, really have got nothing to offer. And they now have to open themselves up to their spending and to the debts which Australia is going to go into, which are of Labor's making, because Anthony Albanese, through, say, free doctor's visits and other bits and pieces. He's announced new roads everywhere. Well, the fact of the matter is he's already announced all this stuff. So there's not really that many chocolates for Jim Chalmers to hand out in the budget next week.
Bit more, a few more giveaways maybe, some free cash, but taken from one of your pockets to put in the other. That's about it, I think. Ross Greenwood, always good to talk to you. Thank you.
Good stuff, Andrew.